Hey dudes and dudettes, it's Simon Hurley and welcome to another video. Now today we have Tim Holtz's new mini Deco Trimmer in studio, and I'm so excited to test this thing out and give it a little bit of my review and thoughts. I saw this when it was announced a long time ago at 2020 Creativation, and it's been a while, but now it is available for purchase. So if you guys decide you want it, I'll have it linked down below in the description box, but let's get into it and take a look. Alright, so one of the first things I do want to say is some people were complaining about the price of the trimmer. And I do have to say, this is a really nice blade and also a custom blade to get that jagged edge on it. So I don't think the price tag is too bad. I actually found a ruler that had the same kind of jagged edge where you could rip it down the cardstock, and it was a very similar price. So to have this blade in here that automatically cuts it for you to have to do no ripping, I think it actually is pretty well priced. But the price is personal opinion, because if you're going to use it more often, of course it's going to be worth it for you. But if you know you're not going to be using a trimmer like this very often, you know, that's not going to be worth it for you. So here is a look at the Deco Trimmer. Now this is an all black trimmer, so that if it's on the shelf and you have the other mini trimmer that just has the straight blade, that one is solid gray, so you'll really easily be able to tell the difference between the two trimmers if you have them both. So when you're cutting with this, just make sure you put a lot of pressure down onto these finger guides, and then you can press down to cut it. It definitely needs a little bit more pressure than the normal trimmer, but I wasn't expecting anything else because of all of this awesome decal detail in there. It's not just a straight edge, it's literally interlocking, kind of like a zipper as it goes down. So it'll definitely need just a little bit more pressure as you're cutting into your cardstock. Alright, so here's a closer look at the blade, and I just wanted to show this because the top, I would say, inch of the blade has a little bit less of this scallop kind of edge or torn edge there. I know they spent a long time kind of getting this right and perfecting it, and I think part of the reason why that blade up there is a little bit less jagged is because it has to start interlocking somewhere, and it would get all caught up, I think, if it was super jagged up there. But, of course, you could use either side of the trimmer since there's a bumper at either side, so it's not a huge issue for me, I don't think. There still is a little bit of a decal, it's just not as noticeable in, I'd say, the first inch. Alright, so let's cut and take a look. Now, this decal edge is different all the way down, so it's not going to be like those scissors that we used to have where it keeps repeating the same pattern. It's all different throughout the whole blade, which I think is super cool. So let's start up at the top here. I'm going to cut off literally the tiniest little sliver. Like, that's what I love about this. It doesn't waste a bunch of cardstock, because when you rip it, you usually have to leave like an inch of room. And here's what that looks like cut starting at the top edge. So you can see there's just a little bit of detail there, but not a ton in that first inch where that blade is, and then it starts going into that really deckled look. So, of course, if you want that, you know, less deckled look, you could totally start using that. It's not a huge bother when you have it on your card. Like, it's not really super noticeable, but it definitely goes into a more detailed decal later on. So it really depends on what part of the trimmer you want to use to get different decal styles. But it's pretty effortless to get that really cool deckled edge, and I like that it's not like too big of a design, so it doesn't feel super tacky. I know sometimes those scissors, those like super jagged edges kind of feel a little bit tacky on your card, whereas this feels more like a real torn edge, which I think is kind of cool. It definitely makes a sound for sure. Okay, so let's go in and cut this. See, that's the coolest part. Like, look, you can just cut the tiniest little pieces off, and it'll still give you that really cool deckled edge. I have to say, that's one of my favorite parts. Sometimes with card making, it's kind of a last minute thought to have that deckled edge, and being able to just cut off the tiniest little bit to get that cool detail has been really helpful. Alright, I'm gonna try something here. So I'm gonna take a piece of my stark white cardstock and just put it in my trimmer, and then I'm going to slowly press it down as I rotate my cardstock. And I didn't know if this was gonna work, but it definitely does. It creates, like, of course mine was a little bit more subtle of that kind of rounded edge, so it creates a little bit of like a hill here. And so if I wanted to, I could put this at the bottom of my card, ink blend it with some green for grass, or of course with the winter season coming up, you can make a little snowbank too. So just some kind of fun ways to use it that are a little bit out of the ordinary. That edge just looks super cool to give a little bit of texture and interest for those backgrounds. Alright, one of the things I wanted to test is just to see how it would take ink. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of fake plant and start inking this edge up. Now the reason why I wanted to test this is because Tonic was kind of describing it as a ripped edge, and I didn't know if they meant that the trimmer kind of actually ripped it as it went down, or if it just kind of gave the look of a ripped edge. So I wanted to see how it would take the ink. Alright, so here's how that edge looks inked up. I think it looks pretty darn cool. It gives a little bit of a darker edge around where it cut and then goes into and fades into the cardstock. So I just wanted to give a look at that, as nobody had really shared that, but I wanted to see personally how it would look because I use lots of inks. Here's a card that I recently created testing out the Deco Trimmer, and you can see that that fun edge on the side just adds a little bit of detail and interest. It's not super in your face, it's not super out there, but it definitely adds a cool effect to your card. And I would say if you use it a lot like this to do matting layers or do banners and things like that to add texture, I definitely think it's going to be worth your money if you use it quite a bit. And for me, I don't add a lot of embellishments either, so this simple detail on the edge adds quite a bit to the card. So all in all, this paper trimmer is pretty cool. I like the work and thought that went into it to create this fun decal design. I like that it's not tacky like the scissors. The design in it is really nice and kind of sophisticated to give that really cool torn edge looking project. So if you want just a little bit of simple detail on the edge, or you want to make your project look a little bit of grungy with ink blending too, I think this is definitely a really cool trimmer for you. I do want to say, if you don't have any trimmers yet, I would definitely recommend getting this trimmer from Tonic. It's got a really nice blade. They do a phenomenal job with their trimmers. So this one's just a simple straight edge trimmer, but I've had it for 4 years and it's held up for such a long time and still stays super sharp. So I'll have this link down below as well, in case if you want to get into a paper trimmer and you don't quite want the deckled edge, but you want something you can use every single day. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button so you never miss another video like this one from me. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!